Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to this channel. Give this video a like.
Check out the podcast below in the description. Do it now.
We've got some breaking news in the middle of this podcast. Not shocking news. It's honestly kind of surprising it's lasted this long. Really? Right? I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
Who just reported it? You can say it. Tell the news.
I think they just released a statement.
Okay, so the Jets have parted ways with Adam Gase, 9-23 in his 2 years, and 2 of those 9 came in the last 3 weeks of the regular season. Right? They won 2 of their last 3.
Yeah, they'd won 2 games in a row coming in today. They've been hot.
He almost finished on a 3-game winning streak if he had beaten Belichick. Yeah. I guess it wasn't almost.
Yeah, I put money on Adam Gase today against Bill Belichick. Lost, but felt pretty good about it. They were at 14-7.
Yeah,
look good.
So how do we feel about that job? We were just talking about it a little bit with Robert Saleh, that Robert Saleh should rather have the Jets job than the Lions job.
I think the job has 2 really good things going for it. Number one, even before the quarterback situation, you have a proven general manager. Like, this guy built the Eagles, or helped. I mean, played a huge role. Him and Howie. He was the personnel guy. He ran the department, and is just widely considered just a stud in the NFL. Gets along with everybody. Like, gets along with Adam Gase to this day. Like, I think having a good GM, like, that is a big deal. Not like some shady guy, not some media-driven guy. Like, kind of like, I don't even know how to describe him, like a Ted Thompson, but when he was way younger. You know, just nuts, bolts, football, none of the fluff.
Well, he's a guy that football people and people that connect seem to like, but he doesn't really have a big profile from a media standpoint.
He'd be like a lot less famous, like the guy with Spielman's brother in Minnesota. That's just like, this guy's a football guy, but he's just more famous. He's been doing it longer. Rick. Yeah. And his brother's famous, but he's just everyone loves him in the NFL. Thinks he's really good.
A less accomplished to this point Ballard.
Like that, yeah. And that to me is just a big deal. Like, the number one thing you hear with a coach, right? It's rarely like the quarterback. I mean, obviously the quarterback situation plays a big part, but it's usually like the alignment in the organization. Because the coach goes, I'll fucking figure out what I want to do with the quarterback. Ideally, you'd like a guy, but some of these are already predetermined. Like, Matt Ryan's not going to go anywhere. Like, if you take the Texans job, like, the quarterback, you're not even thinking about the quarterback. Like, you've got Deshaun Watson. Like, who do I report to? Who runs the roster, right? And so it's like you and Joe Douglas. It'd be a team effort. And then number 2 is the quarterback situation. Like, they have good options. Like, you could either like Sam Darnold and just coach around him, or trade Sam Darnold and use his number 2 pick on a guy that just threw 6 touchdowns and has a chance to throw more again, and another huge upset. Like, if Justin Fields wins the national championship, is it crazy to think that he's the number 2 player now? Like, I think he just immediately
can definitely be the number 2 player again. Yep.
So you just have quarterback options. So you have a stable general manager who has a proven track record in the league. I know not as a true GM in Philly, but like, he gets a lot of credit for that. And then a good quarterback situation in a fucking major market, in a brand that matters, right?
Yeah.
In the brand that the NFL wants to be good. Like, I think it's a big time job.
I'll add a third thing that I think is really significant: the Jamal Adams trade. They have 2 1s and 2 3s. Yeah. Feels a little like, not that Miami is good because of all the draft picks they've had, but Miami had an opportunity early. They kind of took advantage.
It helps you reset.
It just helps you reset, gives you a lot of options. It means that when you look at your roster, you can see what ways to really improve your roster pretty quickly. Now, the Seahawks pick it's an NFL first rounder, so it's very valuable. But here's the thing,
like, Seattle's kind of limping into the playoffs. Who knows? Like, they're no sure thing to just win playoff games. And the thing we saw last year with the Bills, okay, let's say you just use pick 24 this year on, defensive end Haberman from USC or whatever. What about next year? You're like 8-8 your first year with like Stefanski, whoever your coach, I said Stefanski, Saleh, whoever, Matt Campbell. Yeah. And you go Seattle, one and done in the playoffs, and that pick's 22. What if you go like, let's trade him for, that year's fucking that Jamal Adams or that Minkah Fitzpatrick or that Stephon Diggs. Like, it is a powerful thing to have. It's not arguable. It helps. Yeah. And I saw it last year with the Niners. Once you get the second first-round pick, it just gives you a ton of options.
And so they should have good options in terms of head coaches. Like Brian Daboll, you've just watched him in that division. I think you were texting me. We were texting on Saturday when Oregon just almost pulled off the game against Iowa State. John just lost in the Fiesta Bowl, about Matt Campbell. It's been hard for people to pull Matt Campbell away from Iowa State, but he did just kind of cross a threshold with them this year. Got them to the New Year's Six for the first time. Won the game. Won the Fiesta Bowl.
I saw he called the best team in Iowa State history.
Wow, I did not see that. He's been there how many years now? 5?
Yeah, 5 or 6.
It felt like longer to me, but they showed a clip, and they think they labeled it 2015 of when he got the job that he said, we are here for the long haul. And, maybe 5 years you can convince yourself you were there. 6 years feels like you have crossed the threshold of the long haul, but he's not leaving them in the middle of the job. Like, clearly they've elevated to another level. So if he wants to do it, he could do it.
Well, I know one guy. I'm just checking how long he was in Chicago. It might have just been 1 year. He was with the Bears for 1 year, but he went in because he was director of college scouting in 2015 for the Chicago Bears. I've been told he knows Pat Fitzgerald. Like,
oh, okay. You're saying Joe Douglas knows Pat Fitzgerald?
When I asked someone earlier this year what type coach, and we've talked about this before, it was like a John Harbaugh type. To me, that is kind of Pat Fitzgerald. It wouldn't shock me if they offered Pat Fitzgerald the job. Now, I don't know if he'd take it, but I'd rather have Pat Fitzgerald than Matt Campbell. And I think a lot of people like Matt Campbell and want Matt Campbell. I do think the college people, I've told Dan Mullen's going to be in the mix. I think Dan Mullen's a really good coach. Someone told me with kind of knowledge situation, he'd leave Florida. It's just such a pain in the SEC.
He would fall in the category of guys we were talking about the other day. I think you just have some college coaches with the way the college world has changed, letter of intent stuff. Name, image, and likeness stuff. Confusing NIL and NLI, and all these free transfers that are about to happen in college football.
I think Dan Mullen would be a safer hire than Matt Campbell because he does something specific. He can coach my quarterback, coach my offense.
Yeah,
and he's been doing it
really good.
I've seen Dan Mullen go to Mississippi State, get them really good, produce NFL players and quarterbacks, and then go to Florida and be excellent. I know the game the other night was shitty, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think Dan Mullen's going to be in the mix. And this will get back to the solid thing. You see all these look at the names I'm throwing. I didn't bring up one NFL guy. We've talked 3 college guys. And if you're them, you might as well talk to Urban too.
You might as well. Urban, who basically ran Colorado State's search. Maybe he could give you some thoughts on, because remember, Urban tried to hire Matt Campbell.
I think some of the jobs
when Matt Campbell was a head coach, I think, or maybe he was the OC at Toledo, and then Urban tried. Whatever the situation was, Urban tried to hire him
to Florida or Ohio State.
To Ohio State.
Gotcha. And then he became the head coach at Iowa State or something, or he just stayed.
No, well, he was at Toledo. Urban tried to hire him to Ohio State away from Toledo.
I thought he was the head coach at Toledo.
He was. But Urban, It was weird. I don't remember what the deal was. Urban tried to hire him early. Maybe tried to make him his coordinator, pay him more than he was making as head coach at Toledo. That's very possible. Anyway, beside the point. Your point is they got really good options, and I agree with you.
I think there are some pretty good. If I had to rank the Jets' job, to me, the Chargers. Just watching some of that guy today, I mean, he's just a remarkable player. I'm
beginning to think he might be better than Tua, but we'll have to give him 7 years.
To me, I don't know. I'm watching that guy play and thinking, how is Trevor Lawrence going to be better than this? Trevor Lawrence could be really good. I don't think he's going to be better.
I was watching Trevor Lawrence thinking that.
Yeah, so it's to me, that job might be number one. I'm sorry, I would just rather be the head coach of the New York Jets than the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just would. I mean, especially I have the number 2 pick. I think you could argue there are going to be some people that would be much more interested in the Jets than the Jags. That have an ego, money. If the money's similar to, they're both offering me 8, I'll be the fucking coach of the Jets. Yeah. That matters. I'm sorry, the coach of the Jags just does not matter. I get the NFL's big, and it's not like they if they got good, they wouldn't be in some primetime games, but I don't think the NFL even cares if they get good or not. They do care about the Jets, and they want them to be good.
And there might be some guys like Dan Mullen might prefer to live in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some of that, and same with Urban. But I think the Jets are going to end up with a good coach.